The bugle is on in vast, unspoiled Montana, land of diverse habitat and wildlife, and some of America's best elk hunting, which is why hunter and longtime Canadian goose guide Darrel Wise is on the scene. He's racked up his share of elk over the years, but this time around, he's looking to punch his tag with something truly spectacular.
Here we go. Go ahead and take him.
Earlier this year, Elk Fever rode shotgun as Darrel got the drop on a solid Arizona elk with a dead-eye shot that was spot on.
Back. I'm happy. I'm way happy.
This time around, he's hooked up with guide Chan Childers, who has a 391-inch bull to his credit and a whole lot more along the way. Together, they're hunting the 7V Ranch along Montana's fabled Missouri Breaks, outside the little unincorporated town of Brusset, where people are few and far between. But the wildlife is just as awesome and diverse as you'd expect from this hunter's paradise, where the game is just as big and wild as the land, and where Darrel's got his hands on one of the coveted elk tags that many hunters wait years to win.
I've been putting in for about 7 years. Which really isn't very long to get this tag. It's a very coveted tag in the state of Montana, one of the most coveted elk tags in the state.
On the elk, it's a special drawing, and they let out about 250 bull tags every year, and it's pretty well known that if you can get a bull tag here, you can get a darn good bull.
So then the quest was on to find a little more about where to go, what to do with it. I actually got Ross's name recommended to me by another outfitter.
The 25,000-acre 7V Ranch has been in the Childers family since, well, forever.
I'm the second one on this ranch. My dad started out, and I've been here, and I'm 62, and now I got my son and son-in-law on it.
And fittingly, it's Ross's son, Chan, who'll do the guiding on this incredible hunt.
I think people like to come hunt at the 7-bar V because the animals are very unpressured compared to public grounds where they're hunted very hard, and they have kind of a sanctuary, and we manage the game properly and don't overhunt it.
The first day that I arrived on the property was really my first experience in this part of the Missouri River Breaks area. I was just taken by the scenery and the type of the country, and I was like, this is a Western dream. Scattered pines that you could see in through, and just rugged country. Nobody in it.
Well, we live in the Missouri River Breaks, and it's real rough country. It's not like the mountains. We've got great big valleys and ridges that we're on top of, and it all drains into the Missouri River.
It's like a high plateau, and the breaks are gouged out of it. You can get on these points, and you can look 4 or 5 miles in one direction and turn around and look 2 or 3 miles the other direction. It's spotting scope country. It's a spotter's dream.
While the country is breathtaking, the weather can be downright impossible.
When I got here, it's like the weatherman declared war. It was horrible. The visibility the first morning wasn't over 1/4 of a mile. It was blowing. It was below zero. The chill factor was running 20 to 30 below zero. You couldn't see, and it just kind of was a knife in my heart, thinking I've got so many days and now I can't see.
Despite the harsh conditions, Chan and Darrel still spot some elk, but no shooters. With the wind chill approaching 30 below, our duo packs it in with high hopes for better days ahead.
I give.
Me too.
As the hunters retreat, their hopes turn to sunrise tomorrow. Elk Fever's on the hunt in Montana's Missouri Breaks, where hunter Darrel Wise just can't get a break from the weather.
Eventually, the weather got better to where we could use the spot and scopes, and we could look a long ways, and we could find animals in the distance.
As visibility improves, the bulls start appearing, but Chan's plan at this point is to scope them out good and hard.
What's that? You get a mane. Oh, yeah, there's that spike.
I think on that first day I was here, we saw about 7 or 8 bull elk. That got me excited.
For your next assignment, don't you spot the biggest 6-point you've ever saw.
Yeah. I think each day of the hunt, we saw better bull elk than I've ever put my sights on. And Chan, of course, knew what was in this country. He's kind of familiar with the elk that are on their property, seen most of them at one time or another, and he said, no, we'll just kind of keep that one in mind for a later date. You know, that's the last hour of the hunt, bull.
I think he just got barely 6 of that thing.
Well, I'm going, oh, I hope you're right, because I would like to shoot that bull right now.
Okay, right. More elk.
What are you looking at?
The one that's gone, just see his head and horns. I think it's that same one, but there's another one with.
Yeah.
No, it's 2 bulls.
Yeah, there's 2 bulls.
Well, you're looking at a lot of long-range distances. Some people have trouble seeing elk, but we know the country well enough. We've been in it a lot. When something's out of place, we know it, and that we can pick up a lot of elk just because we know the country real well.
Along with all the elk they're scoping out, the guys are locking in on more than a few muleys, too.
Dude, get down out of the wind. Don't be stupid.
I thought we were the only dummies out in this wind. He's sure hunting for those, or he wouldn't be up here.
This is premium mule deer country. It's pretty much to coin the phrase, the best of the West. We probably were looking at 10 or 12 mule deer bucks every day, and they only had one thing on their minds, and it wasn't us. We saw a couple of mule deer that just made me go, ooh, wish I had a tag.
There goes a pretty nice buck deer right down there. He's white.
These folks, the bread and butter of their guiding operation is the mule deer hunts. Simply because the elk tag is so difficult to come by, that there are very few people that have it. But the mule deer in this area are on a general tag. So if you would like to come to Montana and hunt mule deer, you just get a general tag and you're on. Call these folks and knock yourself out. There's mule deer all over the place.
With no tag and no time to get after muleys, it's back to chasing a record-book bull for Darrel and Chan. And if you're looking for a great place to bag your Boone and Crockett bull, you'd better start trying to win that Montana tag. This vast and varied state is home to some of the record book's biggest bulls ever, with the all-time biggest bull, a non-typical, ringing in at 429 1/8 inches. And the biggest typical isn't far behind, at 419 1/2. Is the next world record coming out of the last great place? Not if the southwestern states keep producing awesome bulls like this Arizona monster, the reigning world record rack by a long shot, and just one of many mind-boggling bulls that have come out of the Grand Canyon state in recent years, along with their neighboring state of Utah, where many believe the biggest bulls on earth roam wide and free. Back here in Montana, everything is possible, including some of the world's biggest typical and non-typical wapiti racks, bar none. From the Selway Bitterroot and the Bob Marshall Wilderness to the rough and tough terrain of the Missouri Breaks, every bull in Montana is trophy material.
Anything up here? Tags and a handful of deer.
The way we worked it was so many lookout points on this breaks country. You could go out on a point where it breaks down and have big open canyons in front of you.
Sound really carries across these crispy cold canyons, so hand signals are the order of the day.
A couple of small 6x in the scope, laying down.
Right down here.
They're bulls all right, but not shooters by Chan's high standards. But Darrel, he's not as picky.
You never see that bull being right here, would you? That's just what happens. Just laying on the side of us.
Well, the animals can be in the timber, and that just puts them out of your line of sight, out of your vision. They're right there, but you don't see them. And I was always thinking, well, let's just go to the next spot. Let's go to the next spot. And Chan was go, no, let's watch this one for an hour or more, because something could get up out of its bed or it could be in the timber and come walking out.
Think you could do something about the heat or the lack thereof?
If I could, I would.
Crank it up.
I would if I could. Well, maybe it might be my dog's lunch.
I think you're right.
Well, Montana's turning up plenty of bulls, but no shooters to Chan's liking. But things are about to change in a big way.
And I was thinking, Oh, come on, let's go to the next spot. Chan had just gone around the corner to look into an area where we couldn't see from where we were, and he came running back. Big bull, big lone bull, just came out and laid down right straight over there, and right in front of me, there it was. Right where I'd been looking, and he wasn't before, but he just stepped out of the timber, walked into a little sunny, warm spot and laid down.
I think it's the best bull we've seen, don't you?
Oh yeah, that long shot.
We'll shoot this bull if we can figure out how to do it.
He was between a mile and a mile and a half away, but real obvious if you were looking there in a good glass.
Well, either dropping down in here. So, or we could go around and shoot down
Let's go around. Let's get above him.
above him. I think it'd be the best.
Yeah.
It was game on right then. And if we were to take off down off of that point, that high ridge where we were, and try to make an assault on that elk, he would have us before we went 100 yards. That'd be one option. The other option is we would jump some mule deer between us and him, and then he would be focused on that, and then he would have us. So that's totally wrong. The better way is to drive way out around, come in from above him, and pick a spot, pick a location that you can see, and go to that.
We could probably lay on that point right there and shoot
There
him.
on that little sharp cut.
Yeah.
Right down.
Yeah. He'll stay there for a while.
We went around with the pickup. I know, close the distance to within a quarter of a mile, and then stalked in on him on foot.
When we drove back around to get closer to him to make the approach, and we'd kind of pick some landmarks and dove off of this high point in the snow and down through the trees, and Chan had a pretty good idea where he thought he would be, but everything looks different when you come in from another angle. I mean, it's a whole different world.
Putting the sneak on a mature bedded bull takes tremendous stealth, great patience, wind control, and old-fashioned good luck. A little skill doesn't hurt either, and Chan's had this bull's home address, so all that's left is to creep into range and get off a clean shot.
Not having the animal know you're there is a very important part, because you've got all the time in the world. If you have problems with your weapon or something, you have time to fix that, and it's better that they don't know you're there, because you might, if you miss, you might get a second shot if they don't know where the bullet's coming from.
Extreme cold is tough on hunters and their guns. To keep your firearm ready in frigid temperatures, keep your ammo dry, your action free of ice, and avoid condensation by storing your ice-cold gun anywhere but a cozy cabin.
We made our approach totally out of his line of sight and snuck up on a ridge top.
When we looked over the bank we were shooting off of, I ranged him with Darrel's rangefinder, and he was laying down at 238 yards. When we got close to the elk, we crawled along a steep bank just so we didn't skyline ourselves.
I may shoot off of your hat. I may shoot off of your hat, bro.
I used to wear a big Western hat to use for a shooting platform when I was younger, and Chan just happened to have one. It was perfect. I like to shoot off of sticks, and there was absolutely no hope of trying to shoot sticks right there. It was so steep I could barely lay on it to shoot, but we did, and just, you know, just our heads popped over, and he ranged him. It was 238, and I thought, man, that's just a chip shot. This is going to be so cool, and it was. Pretty soon we could look down there in the snow and see those big antlers sticking up there, and I go, oh my gosh, it's just an awesome bull. I'd never had my sights on a bull like that in my life. And there was no ground shrinkage. The closer we got, the better he looked. So I was just beside myself. Well, I was prone, so was the elk. And he was laying over there chewing his cud and looking down over everything out in front of him. There would have been no possible way to come in below him or out in front of him across the canyon anywhere without being seen, and that would have been game over. He wins. Okay. We attempted to get him up. Chan waved his arms, and that bull just, boom, had us right there. But he made no effort whatsoever to get up. He was laying in such a place that if he got up and jumped up, it'd have been over. It'd have been like a nanosecond. He would have been out of sight.
If he'd have jumped up and moved a few yards, he would have been in the thick brush, and we may have never seen him again.
Secondly, It was about 18 below zero with a wind chill factor pushing it down to 28 below zero. You really couldn't stand to be out there very long before your bones would start chattering. So I made the decision, the way he was laying, his vitals were wide open to me from top to bottom. And he was being a perfectly still target, wasn't gonna take a step.
Let me just shoot him.
We could not sit there that long to wait for that elk to stand up. It was too cold. We couldn't handle the conditions.
I'm gonna shoot him. Okay.
Nice shot.
Thanks. Oh, wow. That is a bull.
Darrel did a real nice shot. The elk just tipped over. He never moved at all.
Now I put one in the top of his lungs. I think I broke his back. I tried to. But there he lays. Best bull of my life, and now I gotta go talk to my taxidermist. Real sweet.
I may never shoot an elk like that again, but having one is plenty.
That's the biggest bull I've ever shot.
Yeah, that's even a bull.
He is a great bull.
Now the fun part's over, now the hard part.
Now the really hard part. How are we gonna deal with him?
Tending their kill in these severe conditions will be hard work, but a labor of love they'll always remember.
Oh, wow. Yeah, baby.
He's got it all, Jan.
Yeah, he does.
He's got it all. That looks like 15 inches of 5 right there. Oh,
That's almost as long as he's 4.
yeah, and look at the mass. Look at that, he's got it all.
Yeah.
He sure does. Scoring an impressive 352 5/8, Darrel's elk is just shy of the record book, but is still his bull of a lifetime.
What a glorious time it is. That'll do her.
That coveted tag finds a permanent home on the massive rack of this royal Montana elk.
It's been the hunt of my life.
I'm glad it was.
Oh man, just an awesome bull.